Hey YouTube, what is going on? I've got an extremely good RU match for you here today against a guy named Shadow Kakuna. And as you can see, based on his team, it is very, very bulky. The only type of offensive Pokemon would be Bouffalant or a choiced Rotom in some way, shape, or form. So as you look at my team, it's pretty balanced overall. I've got a few threats, but sitting in here with Tangrowth, start of the match, I don't want to take any kind of HP fire, but I'm thinking he's not going to want to stay in, goes for the Volt Switch, and the switch to Golurk was good for me. I am Choice Banded, and that does next to nothing to a Alomomola, so on the switch he does go for the Toxic, as Slowking is unfortunately going to get poisoned, but he knows he can't do anything, and I go for the Toxic. Luckily hitting the Uxie side is good for me, and yeah, so he switches out, and I do as well, so got a double switch as I go into my Magmortar, and I go for the Focus Blast. Luckily hit the first one, so that's good for me. He does go for the Heal Bell, however, and does get the poison removed from his Uxie, and this was crucial. I did miss a Focus Blast. He said it didn't matter, but in the long run it actually did for a few reasons, but I'll get into that later. So goes into Nidoking. I don't want to take an Earth Power, so I go right back into Slowking. Fortunately, Regenerated keeps me at a good amount of HP. I do live that Thunderbolt, and I get a Scald off. Unfortunately, do not get the burn, and that Thunderbolt, I will not only live with a very small sliver of health, but I'm going to go back into my Golurk, and I'm going to go for the Choice Banded Shadow Punch on his switch, and I'm going to keep going for it, hoping for a crit, because I don't want to have to deal with this Alomomola at all anymore, but luckily I am going to live that Scald as he gets his wish. But at this point, I know he's not going to want to go for it again. He's going to want to either pass the wish or recover his own health, so good for me. But he does switch into Bouffalant, thinking I'd go for the Shadow Punch one last time, but I do switch into my Slowking just to switch right back out, avoiding the Head Charge. And now I'm going to go for the Drain Punch rather than the Shadow Punch to get a decent chunk of damage back, decent amount of HP back rather, and I'm going to go right back into Slowking. So as you can tell, this is seemingly stally-ish, but yeah. Anyways, he is going to go into his Nidoqueen, and I should have gone for the Scald. I don't know why I didn't, but it would have helped me out a lot in the long run. And they go right back into their Lantern, and all this thing really seems to want to do is either Volt Switch or Heal Bell. But he predicts a switch, goes for the Scald, but I miss my Toxic. Now that really doesn't matter, but yeah. So I am going to switch out, not wanting to take a Volt Switch. But he does go for the Toxic once again as I go into my Druddigon, and I go into Cinccino, thinking he would want to switch out to take the Earthquake with Alomomola, but I do go into my Cinccino, going for the Bullet Seed once he's in here with his Alomomola, and Skill Link will enable me to hit that 5 times, and it barely does has half, especially after Lefty, so he does get the Toxic off. Life Orb and Toxic's really going to be racking up, so I don't want to be sitting in there. As I go into my Tangrowth, who will be the MVP, and you will see later on. Luckily for me, I do miss my Sleep Powder, not giving him the Sap Sipper boost, as he goes for the Substitute. So now that he has the sub, he is a threat, and I don't want to switch out, even if this means losing my Druddigon. I don't want him getting a free sub up, because he will demolish a good portion of my team. So he does continue to go for the sub to 1, stall, and 2, hopefully think I'd go for Stealth Rock or something, but that is not the case, and I don't want him getting up that free sub, as I said, but that Head Charge will easily take me out, but not at the cost of him losing a large amount of HP because of Recoil and Rough Skin, but he's going to switch out, not want to take the Fine Whip. I do hit this Focus Blast, followed up by another one that I miss, and this was crucial right now because sure he hits the Skull, but had I hit that, I could have hit him later on, taking him out to where he would not be able to continually Heal Bell, making my life easier, but that doesn't happen. So he goes for the sub with Uxie. He was a little weird. He could be a sub Calm Mind set with like Psychic and T-Bolt, which could be a good set, but because I have Cinccino, substitutes are not always the best move to go for, and he is going to go for the Psychic, easily taking me out. So I'm going to go into my Golurk. The Shadow Punch is extremely obvious, so of course I'm going to switch up, going for the Earthquake this time. Still doesn't do too much, but I am Choice Banded, and against the defensive Alomomola, that will do a lot. So I go in here with Magmortar, and he gets the wish off, but I do go for the Overheat. I know I'm going to lose Magmortar at this point, but I just wanted to get as much damage as possible off on the Uxie, so he did his job. And in here with Golurk, gonna go for the Shadow Punch, not gonna fall for another switch and go for an Earthquake, but I am unfortunately going down to an HP Fire is what I'm thinking it is. Luckily I do guess right, and he goes right back into his Lantern. Unfortunately I don't have anything to hit this Lantern with. I have Fire Blast and Scald, along with Toxic, but luckily I do get the burn on the Scald, and I don't want to be taking a Volt Switch, but unfortunately he goes for another Heal Bell, so that makes my life even harder. So at this point it looks like I'm easily going to lose, but I go for the HP Fire over the Grass move, to where, unfortunately I am faster, to where he will not be able to boost up and hit any of my team with his Boufflant. So Boufflant goes down, Alomomola comes in here protecting, trying to see what I'm going to do. I end up going for the Sleep Powder. Doesn't really matter though, because he protects, so I go for it again, missing again, which once again isn't really a big deal, because now that Uxi's in here, my Giga Drain will take out his sub, so that is fortunate for me, and that Psychic will do a very large amount of damage, but the Giga Drain will take him out and put me at a decent amount of health. So now they go in here to Nidoqueen, misses the Fire Blast, which was the #1 miss of the game. It makes up for any kind of hacks, and that was the turn of the game that easily won me the match. I'm not going to spoil everything else, but yeah, it was a huge deal. So he does go for the Trick, which also helps me out immensely. He should have just gone for the HP Fire, because now that I'm Scarfed, I can outspeed a good portion of his team, or so I thought. So he is in here with a Alomomola, trying to get another Toxic, but I do just go for it, not trying to overpredict, especially when I'm only down to 2 Pokemon. But he is in here with Lantern, and so I am expecting another Toxic, as he expects my switch, so that is okay because I am Scarfed, like I said. That Giga Drain does massive amounts of damage. I'm not even invested in special attack, so that still does a large amount of damage. But this next Giga Drain will take him out with a crit. I doubt it really mattered in the long run at all, but he goes into his Nidoqueen, and I know I'm not going to want to take Fire Blast, but he does go for the Earth Power on the switch, which is a good move on his part. Followed up by a Thunderbolt, which I live, and that was so crucial. If I had not lived that, I would have easily lost the match. I do lose Slowking in the process, but with that extra damage, I somehow outsped his max speed, Timid, Nidoqueen, along with that Choice Scarf. But Alomomola comes in here trying to stall me out just a little bit more with the Protect. I go for the Giga Drain. That does 90%. Once again, I'm not even invested in special attack, and that does a large amount of damage. And as he goes for one final Protect, knowing he is going to die even after the Wish and Leftovers recovery. So, great game, Shadow Kakuna. I do take out the Alomomola, back up to full, doesn't really matter, but that was an amazing RU match. I hope you all enjoyed this, and this little outro thing took me a while to do. Hope you all enjoyed. Please click the subscribe button. As you can see off to the left, that is going to be my previous video. If you want to go watch it, click the annotation. And like I said, the MVP is easily Tangrowth. Like, comment, subscribe if you guys enjoyed this. And I'd like to thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all later.